So, is this presentation visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, a very good morning, everyone. I welcome you all for this Strength of Materials demo series, lecture series with the code 18CV32, right? So, if you remember, in the previous session, we had discussed about the concept of shear force and bending moment. Previous to that, we had discussed some basic concepts, that is a definition of a beam. Okay, what exactly is a beam, and what are the different types of supports, its loading conditions, and different types of beams. Right. So taking this into concept, we had moved on to shear force. We had actually defined what exactly is shear force and bending moment. Right. That is an unbalanced force at each and every section, right, generated to resist the deflection, okay, to the added force or the applied force, that itself is called as shear force. And similarly, the unbalanced moment that has been generated to resist the deflection to the applied load, that is a bending moment, right? Or in other words, we had also defined it in other way as well, that is the algebraic sum of forces to the right or left of the section, right? That is equal to a shear force, or the algebraic sum of moments to the right or left of the section, that is then bending moment, right? So we had discussed this concept in the previous session by taking this diagram. Okay, so let me revise this diagram once again. So this is a beam actually, right? This beam is simple support. It is actually provided with a simple support. And you can see the span of the beam or the length of the beam given to you. And what type of load is acting on this beam? It is UDL, right? Uniformly distributed load. And if you remember, we had also discussed what exactly is a longitudinal section and what is a cross section, right? So this is your longitudinal section. Please observe the cursor carefully. This is a longitudinal section. This is the cross section. In cross section, you can clearly observe breadth and depth of the beam, right? So now, when you apply this UDL, right, what is the intensity of the UDL? It is W Newton per meter, right? So, instead of Newton, it can be kilonewton. So, in general, it has been given as unit per length. So, it can be anything in other ways. So, W per unit length, okay? So, this is the intensity. So, when the load W increases, obviously, you can see some deflection in the beam. What is the meaning of deflection? You can see the second diagram. Okay, is it not? It has undergone some amount of deformation, right? This deformation is in the form of this curvature. The beam has actually bended, right? So this bending is nothing but the deformation or the deflection, right? So if you remember in the first module, when I take a single bar, when you apply a tensile load or a compressive load, if you apply it axially, then we have seen some extension or shortening in the member, right? In a similar way, when you take a beam, right, and when you apply this loading, the beam actually bends. Or in other words, you can simply call it as a deflection or the deformation. So that's why you can see this curved line here, right? Now, this is the reaction that is from the support, right, from left side and the right side. Now, what I've done here is take any section, wherever section you want, you can take. At each and every section, I say that there is shear force and bending moment, right? So now you can see this dotted line, right? This, I have simply taken this section. See, taken the section in the sense you have to cut it. You have to imagine that you have cut the beam and you are observing it, the half portion of the beam, right? So I have taken a dotted line here and I have cut the beam. Now, after cutting the beam, right, I can see only the left portion. So a left portion is clearly visible to you, right? So what I want to check here is, I want to check what all forces have been generated at the cross section, right? See, please observe this carefully. You have this negative direction V and the moment which has been generated here. Can you observe this? Where it has generated? It has generated you have where you have taken the cut section. In a similar way, if you take in any place, right? Any distance you can take the cut section. Here I have taken the cut section at a distance x from the left support. Can you see this X distance from the left support? Yes? Can you see this? Take a cut section at a distance X from the left support. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So, right. So, okay. So you can take at any distance wherever you want. Okay. So here I have taken at a distance of X. Okay. So now at a distance of X, when you observe only the left portion, see, I have not considered this right portion. Now I am simply concentrating on the left portion, left half portion of the beam. So when you observe this, it is simple. It is simply like, you know, in first year you used to take, you used to draw the free body diagram. Do you remember that? How do you draw the free body diagram? You used to isolate the body, right? So suppose you have a circle between the two support. You used to take that circle outside and you used to draw all the reactions that a circle is subjected to, right? Do you remember that? In a similar way,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have taken this beam, right? So in a similar way, I have taken this beam outside and I have shown all the reactions and the applied load that has been generated within the beam. So in the third diagram, as you can see here, observe the cursor. In the third diagram, I have shown all the reactions that has been generated in the beam, right? So let's see what all the forces that has been generated. So basically, this is a cut section of the beam. You have this UDL, right? So of course, UDL, wherever the cut section you have taken, half portion UDL must exist always, right? So this UDL remains same. And what is the intensity of this UDL, half UDL? It is once again W per unit length itself, right? Now, left portion, of course, reaction, there should be there always, right? Let's say that this reaction is RA. Observe the cursor. Let's say that this reaction is RA. Okay. Now, this is a distance X where I've taken the cut section. Okay. Now, what are these forces that has been generated here, right? Now, let's observe these forces carefully. Okay. So when you take a cut section here, okay, see, suppose if you have not taken a cut section, if you take this entire beam in equilibrium, right? How did you write the equilibrium equation for this entire beam? Do you remember that? Summation Fy is equal to 0. How do you write an equilibrium equation for this entire beam? Plus Ra plus Rb minus W into L. Is my equation correct? Observe carefully. Let's say that left side the reaction is Ra, right side the reaction is Rb, and this is W and the length is L. So how do you write summation Fy is equal to 0? Plus Ra plus Rb minus W into L is equal to 0. That is, summation of all the forces which are acting in y direction should be taken as 0. Is it not? This is the way you used to do? Yes or no? While taking equilibrium.
Yes,
For
ma'am.
the entire beam, right? So now I hope just remember that concept. Now you can apply that concept in this third diagram. See, this is a reaction Ra which has been generated. Now at each and every section, now when you take an entire beam, of course these Ra and Rb will come into picture. Entire beam remains in equilibrium. But when you take a cut section, right? When you take a cut section, naturally at each and every section, the unbalanced force will be generated automatically as a resistance force, right? So in a similar way, you can see here, this V, which is acting in downward direction, it has been generated as an unbalanced force. Now that means every section, if you say that the beam is in equilibrium, any part of the beam should be in equilibrium. It's not only that, you know, entire beam should be in equilibrium. When you take a single part of the beam, even that should be in equilibrium always, right? Then only you can take it in a design aspect, right? So now I have taken this particular beam. This is my reaction Ra, right? An unbalanced force that has been generated here, which is going in negative direction. This is V. In a similar way, if you take this Ra into X, there is a clockwise moment generated, right? Now to oppose this, there should be a resistance that has been generated here in opposite direction, that is M. You can see the M in anti-clockwise direction that has been generated. Now this is basically an unbalanced force, is it not? Now whenever you go on taking at each and every section. Now here I have taken it only for the one section. But if you take it for entire section, go on taking the section and go on observing each and every part. everywhere this unbalanced force will be generated in the beam, right? Now this unbalanced force is nothing but the shear force, that is V. And similarly, this unbalanced moment which has been generated throughout the section, that itself is bending moment M. Okay, so you can see here at the bottom, unbalanced moment is bending moment M and unbalanced force is shear force V. Okay, so I hope this concept is clear to you. Now let me tell you a few of the sign conventions, right? So whenever a beam is given to you, it may be any kind of beam. It may be cantilever beam, it can be a simple support beam, or any type of beam which you know. Of course, it should be for your syllabus. It is statically determinate beam itself. Okay. Now, whenever you're drawing shear force and bending moment diagram, right? Now, what the main thing that includes in the third module is, as I said, this M and V will be generated throughout the section. This should be represented diagrammatically for the entire beam. That representation itself is bending moment and shear force diagram. What is the meaning of bending moment diagram and shear force diagram? The representation of this V and M throughout the section of the beam. You should draw that, right? That itself is bending moment diagram and shear force diagram. Okay. Now, to draw this bending moment diagram and shear force diagram, you need to follow some sign convention. In the sense, like for taking equilibrium, how did you take the sign conventions? Upward force positive, downward force negative, clockwise positive, anti-clockwise negative. Is this a sign convention which you have followed? Yes. While taking equilibrium equations, which sign convention have you followed? Upward force positive, downward force negative, clockwise positive, anti-clockwise negative. Is it not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So in a similar way, even for drawing shear force diagram and bending moment diagram, okay, in a similar way, there are some sign conventions. Now let's study that sign convention. The easy method to remember this sign convention here is, you need to remember this loop, L-U-P loop, and R-U-N run. Just remember these two words, loop and run. Is this visible to you? L-U-P loop, R-U-N run. Can you see this? Now again, I'm
Yes,
telling you
ma'am.
actually a shortcut. Okay. Okay. So what is this LUP loop and RU and run? Right. So loop in the sense, the sign conventions as it goes. Okay. See, loop in the sense, left side upward force positive. What is LUP? Left, upward, positive. What is this LUP? Left, L for left, U for up, P for positive. Left side upward force positive. You need to remember this. Similarly, remember this run. What is this run? Right side, upward force, negative. Right side, upward force, negative. So remember this loop and run, right? Now, what is this exactly? Left side, upward, positive, right side, downward, negative. Now, suppose, let's say that this is the, let me show this. Is this figure visible to you? Please observe my cursor carefully. Is this figure visible to you? Now, let's imagine that I have taken a cut section and these are the two beams. Okay, I have taken a cut section. These are the two beams, left portion beam and right portion beam. Let's say that these are the two beams. Okay, and let's say that these are the reactions, or these are the unbalanced force that has been generated. Okay, perpendicular to the cross section. Let's say that these are the forces. Can you see these forces on these two blocks? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, when you'll be writing the equilibrium equations, you need to follow the sign conventions always. Okay. And while following the sign convention, remember one thing: do not mix up the equilibrium sign convention and SFT BMD sign convention. Let me repeat this once again. You know how to calculate a reaction for a given beam, right? Now, in the first year, you have learned how to calculate reaction for a given beam. How do you calculate the reaction for a given beam? First of all, you draw the free body diagram. You check how many reactions are generated for a support. If it is a fixed support, you get 3 unknown reaction. If it is a hinged support, you get 2 unknown reaction. If it is a roller support, you get 1 unknown reaction, right? First of all, you draw those reaction and then you apply the equilibrium condition. That is summation fx is equal to 0, summation fy is equal to 0, summation m is equal to 0. Is it not? By using all the 3 equations, you have solved how to calculate the reaction. Now, while calculating reaction, you have followed one sign convention. Have you followed that sign convention? Yes. Did you follow the sign convention while calculating the reaction? What was the sign convention while calculating the reaction which you have followed? Upward force positive, downward force negative, right side, positive direction of right side positive, left direction force which is going in negative direction of x-axis as negative. Have you followed this? Yes or
Yes,
no?
ma'am.
Right. And while taking the moment, clockwise moment positive, anti-clockwise negative, right? So this you need to remember always. There is no difference in this at all. Do not confuse this sign convention and the SFT BMD sign convention. Why I'm repeating all these things? Because students usually get confused with the sign convention which you have followed in calculating the reaction and the sign convention which I'm telling you now. So do not mix up the sign conventions. Okay, whatever you have done in first year, that is how to calculate the reaction. Whatever you have followed the sign convention, that you need to remember always. Do not forget that. Okay, now whatever the sign convention I'm telling you, this is only for SFD and BMD, shear force diagram and bending moment diagram. Okay, now so let me repeat this sign convention. So you have a 2 blocks here. Let's say that these are the 2 cut sections and you can observe the forces here. Please, in the first block, observe this force. Observe my cursor carefully. Observe this force. How is this force going? It is going in upward direction. Whether it is left side or right side of the block. Okay, let me tell you which is left and which is right. If this is my block, observe my carefully. This is my block. This is my left portion, right? And this is my right portion of the block. Right? In a similar way, if this is the block, let's say that this is the block. Okay, if this is the block, then this is my left portion, this is my left portion, and this is my right portion. So now you have understood whenever a block or a cut section is given to you, which is left of the section and which is right of the section, right? Now, your sign convention says that whenever you are taking an equilibrium equation or whenever you are calculating shear force, I'm not talking of bending moment now, I'm talking about only, concentrate carefully. Whenever you are calculating shear force or whenever you are using sign convention for the shear force, left side upward force will be always positive. And that is why it is LUP loop, left side upward positive. Have you understood this? Where is your left side upward positive? This is the left upward, right? So this force will be positive. And what about the other force? Other force is right side downward. Right side downward. What is the right side downward? Right side downward is negative. RUN, run. What is the meaning of run? Right side upward is negative, right? Now, just observe this block. Let me repeat this once again. If this is the block, this is my left portion, this is my right portion, right? Left positive, left upward is positive, and you need to remember another thing is, if this is your block, right side upward is negative. Where is your right side upward? This is your right side. Right side upward is negative. Or otherwise you need to follow the other things in a reverse way. Okay, so I hope this sign convention is understood to you all. This sign convention you need to follow for the shear force. Okay, now what about the bending moment? So bending moment, the sign convention as it goes, always you need to learn one more thing: sagging bending moment and hogging bending moment. Now what is the meaning of sagging bending moment and hogging bending moment? Now this is, let's say that this is, observe my cursor carefully. Let's say that this is your block. Okay, let's say that this is your block. Now, when you apply the load, it may be UDL or concentrated load or anything. When you apply the load, the beam has bended, the deformation of the beam is in this way. Observe this carefully. This is how the beam has been bended. It is somewhat like, a convex type. Do you know what is the meaning of convex and concave lens? Have you studied this convex and concave? Convexity, concavity. Have you studied this different types
Yes,
of
ma'am.
lenses in your, right? You have studied this in your PUC if you remember, right? So if you think in that way, convexity and concavity, this is, what do you call this in the form of upward? Is it not a convex type? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
First figure, yes. So it is, of course, you can define it in many ways. It is somewhat like the convex lens type shape, right? Now, if the beam, if the curvature of the beam is in this way, that is convexity at the top, right? Then this is called as the sagging bending moment. This is called as sagging bending moment. And for this sagging moment, please observe the moment, how it has been generated here. See, I should apply this, can you see this moment? Both the side I have shown the moment. This is acting in left side, it is acting clockwise, right side it is acting anti-clockwise. Now because of this is how the bending has occurred. Okay, so this type of bending of the beam is called as sagging, and the bending moment is called as sagging bending moment. The similar way, exactly opposite. Sometimes depending on the beam, depending on the supports and depending on the loading, if the reaction itself is too high, if the reaction generated is too high, every possibility that the beam may bend in reverse order as well, right? So in the second diagram, you can see this bending. Can you see this type of bending? Yes, I have shown the dotted line. This is called as hogging, and the bending moment is called as, bending moment that has been generated is called as hogging bending moment. Now observe carefully how the moments have been generated in the hogging bending moment. Left side it is anti-clockwise, right side it is clockwise, right? So this bending moment is hogging bending moment. And the sign convention says that always sagging bending moment take it as positive, hogging bending moment take it as negative. I'll repeat once again. Sagging bending moment take it as positive, hogging bending moment take it as negative. So these sign conventions you should follow while solving the numerical examples, right? So I hope the sign convention is understood to you all. Of course, I'll repeat the sign convention when I'll be explaining the numerical examples once again. Okay, so this is all about SFT BMD sign convention. Now, the next concept in today's class is elastic curve. Okay, now what is an elastic curve? So to draw any bending moment and shear force, first of all, you need to know what exactly is the elastic curve. Okay, now you can read the sentence here. Okay, generally the beam is represented by a line. See, actually speaking, when you see a live beam in your home, right? So either you can draw it in a 2D diagram or you can show the 3D diagram as well. But usually, even in first year, what you have done is, whenever somebody asks you to draw a beam, how did you draw a beam? You have drawn it as a single line, is it not? Generally the beam is usually represented by a single line, right? So even similar way, in this below diagram, even here it has been shown it as a single line diagram. So this is a beam. Now what type of beam is this? It is an overhang beam, is it not? It is an overhang beam. What is the meaning of overhang? Some portion of the beam or some length of the beam is extended beyond the support. That is an overhang beam. Now, how many sides it has been overhanged in this particular beam? Both sides it has been overhanged. Here also, left side also it is overhanged. Right side also it is overhanged. So this is both side overhang beam. So I have represented this beam by a line, right? Now, these are the reactions that has been generated, RA and RB. Now, because of the UDL and because of the reaction that has been generated, this is how the beam bends, right? This is how the bending of the beam occurs. So you can imagine this. What you do is you can simply take a rubber or any elastic material. Okay, so I want everyone to do this in your home. Take a rubber or any elastic material or any plastic pipe you can take, okay, which is flexible enough. So take any material which is flexible enough so that this experiment will definitely understand you what is the meaning of elastic curve. So take an flexible material, say, let's say that take around 30 centimeter or 15 centimeter flexible length material, okay? And I want you to apply the loading as it has been done here. Of course, instead of UDL, you can use concentrated load also, okay? You can take the help of someone in your home. So apply or some weight, okay? Now, apply these two reactions as well. Of course, even this you can do always. Anytime you can do this. Apply the reactions, okay? Now, after applying these reactions, I want you to observe how the beam has undergone the deformation or how the beam has undergone the deflection. Is it not when you just imagine you have a flexible beam, okay, or a flexible pipe, apply this kind of loading, and these are the two reaction. Is it not the curve how the or the beam how it bends, or the curve that has been formed because of the bending? This is how it forms the shape. Is it not? Can you imagine this?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So I want everyone to do this experiment in your home. Take any material which is flexible. It can be pipe or any flexible material. Okay. So take a flexible material, apply this kind of loading and reaction, and just check the how is the curve that has been generated because of the loading and the reaction. And you can change the supports also. You can make that flexible beam as a cantilever. How do you make this at cantilever? Hold it fixed tightly in your hand and then apply the load and then observe how is the elastic curve generated. I want to do support so that you will get an idea for different types of supports, how is the elastic curve generated in the beam. That is very important in case of bending moment diagram and shear force diagram, right? Now I'm talking about elastic curve. So whatever the experiment you have done now, this depiction of the bent portion of the beam, okay, or the curve that has been generated in the beam because of the loading and the reaction, the depiction of the bent portion of the beam itself is called as elastic curve. So the curve that you can observe here, this itself is called as elastic curve. How did you get this elastic curve? Because of the loading and the type of support that has been given here, right? So this is the meaning of elastic curve. So by looking at this elastic curve, you can draw the bending moment and shear force diagram. Okay. So of course, numerically, by using sign convention, you can draw SFT BMD. But by observing the elastic curve, one will definitely get an idea how will be the bending moment, how will be the shear force diagram. So before that, I want everyone to learn this elastic curve. So make some few experiments in your home and just try out of support and different kinds of beam. How will be the different elastic curves generated? Will you try this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. Now, after trying, I'll give you another exercise. After trying this in your home, you should draw that elastic curve in a paper and you should send it to me. Okay. So I want you to follow for simply supported beam and I want you to follow for cantilever beam. For a simple support, simply supported beam and cantilever beam, I want you to show me the elastic curve by taking UDL and also by taking the concentrated load. So you will get four diagrams. Simply supported beam, one with UDL, one with concentrated load. Cantilever beam, one with UDL, one with concentrated load. Will you draw me the elastic curve? Yes? Will you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just simply don't draw the elastic curve. Perform that exercise in your home and imagine it. Okay. Grasp it properly and then you can show me that elastic curve through a paper. Okay. You can send it to me through WhatsApp. Okay. Or you can mail it to me. Okay. So this is all about the elastic curves And let me revise the support reactions once again today. In the next class, we'll go to the derivation of the relationship between SFD, BMD, and the intensity of the loading. Okay, so let me revise these reactions because see, for when you go for the numerical examples, all the numerical the reaction. So in the first year, you have already learned how to calculate a reaction. I want everyone, if you have the first year textbook or if you have any notes, you can make a summary of that. You can memorize it once again. Okay, because if you don't know how to calculate the reaction, then it becomes very difficult to proceed further, right? So in this SFD BMD module, always the first step is to calculate the reaction, which will fetch you 2 to 3 marks, right? So you should know how to calculate a reaction. So to calculate the reaction, you should know what are the different types of supports, what are the different types of reactions that has been generated, and what are the different types of loadings that a beam will undergo, right? So let me revise that. Simply support, you know that one reaction at each support, RA, RB, right? And roller support, similarly, one reaction at each support, RA, RB, right? Next, hinged support, two reaction at each support. One is RAX and RAY in the sense, or maybe you have taken RH, RAH and RAV, right? That is reaction at A side horizontal, reaction at A side vertical. So definitely you will get two reaction. So hinged support is also called as pinned support, right? So next, fixed support. How many unknown reaction? Three unknown reaction. Which are they? Horizontal, vertical, and the moment, right? So I hope, is this reactions understood to you all? Unknown reactions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I want everyone to make a summary of this. Okay, just revise this once again. How to calculate the reaction, which are the different types of supports, right? Just revise this because maybe by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I may start with the numerical examples. Then you will get an idea how to proceed with SFT BMD by calculating the reactions. Okay, and another important point is, so whatever the assignment today I've given you, I want everyone to perform that assignment. Do it in your home, okay? And draw the elastic curves for cantilever and the simply supported beam so that you'll understand how the beam bends or how it undergoes deformation for different kinds of supports. Okay, so do this exercise and tomorrow, in the tomorrow's class, we'll discuss on this exercise. Okay, so do you have any doubt till up to here or in this particular session? Do you have any doubt or any clarification?
Ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So, okay, fine. So to summarize, today we have learned about SFT BMD concept, okay, the sign convention which has to be followed in drawing the shear force diagram and bending moment diagram. And we have learned about the elastic curves and different reactions that has been generated in the supports. Okay, so that's all for this today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.